Okay, why do we want who we want? I mean, it's got to be one of the oldest questions there is. But what if attraction isn't just, random chemistry? What if it's more like a complex market guided by two deep, almost opposite parts of our own minds? Today, we're diving into a really ambitious new framework that tries to connect the dots between sexual psychology and economics to give us a whole new map for human desire.
So here's the game plan. First, we'll tackle the mating puzzle and why it's so unique for humans. Then we'll get into the two core channels the theory proposes, the compass and the mirror. After that, we'll see how this all plays out in what it calls a psychoeconomic exchange. We'll even see how the model stretches to explain psychiatric conditions. And finally, we'll ask the big question, what does this new map of desire actually show us?
All right, let's start with the basic problem this whole thing is trying to solve. For pretty much every other animal on the planet, picking a mate is, well, it's pretty simple. But for us, it is a fascinating, complicated, beautiful mess.
And really, just think about it for a second. Animals are mostly running on instinct, right? They see a direct signal, they react. But we are trying to navigate this crazy maze of social status, emotional needs, symbolic meanings. I mean, how did it get so complicated?
And this right here, this comparison, really gets to the heart of it. Animals are dealing with straightforward physical signals. Humans, though, we live in a world of symbols. Our choices are all tangled up with abstract ideas, our personal histories, and these really complex social ladders. So we aren't just picking a mate, we're picking a story. We're signaling our status. We're looking for a psychological match. And to understand that, you need a much bigger model.
So let's get to the core of this framework. It says that our psyche, our mind, sees the world and potential partners through two really different but complementary channels. It calls them the compass and the mirror. And what's really fascinating here is how the theory defines consciousness. It's not just being awake. It's described as a universal sensory organ. Think about it. Your eyes only see light. Your ears only hear sound. But your consciousness can perceive everything. It can perceive a rock, but it can also perceive an abstract idea, like justice or the number 7. This ability probably exploded when we developed language, because that's what lets us handle these abstract concepts. But even then, we tend to visualize these concepts, right? We think of them in images in a kind of mental space. So within this universal sense, vision and our sense of space are totally dominant. And that shapes a very specific way of looking at the world.
This leads us right to the first channel, the compass. Because it's built on that visual spatial way of thinking, it acts like a vector. In physics, a vector has a direction and a magnitude. It's goal-oriented. This is the part of the psyche that's strong in things like math or engineering, where you're constantly comparing measurable data. And so when the compass looks for a partner, it does the exact same thing. It scans for quantifiable external signals of value, things that indicate health, fertility, and by extension, high social status.
Now, the second channel is the mirror. This one is rooted in the subconscious. That's where all our deep emotions, our instincts, our core personality lives, and it works completely differently. It's not a goal-seeking vector, it's more like a field, and it's looking for resonance. The mirror isn't measuring data points on the outside. It's looking inward and then outward, searching for a symbolic reflection. It's asking, does this person's inner world, their personality, their values, their soul, does it resonate with mine?
So this table kind of puts it all together. The compass is like a conscious, directional vector. It plans, it optimizes, it seeks out those measurable traits. The mirror, on the other hand, is a subconscious, field-like thing. It resonates, it feels, and it seeks a symbolic reflection of your own personality. One is looking at the what, the other's looking for the who. And this whole dual-engine system is what drives everything that follows.
Okay, so that brings us to the economics of it all. If you have these two very different parts of the psyche, how do they actually interact? Well, the theory says they meet in a kind of marketplace. But we're not talking about money here. We're talking about a market for symbolic value.
And this is really the economic engine of the whole theory. Dating isn't just about feelings, it's what's called a signaling cascade. Everything about us, the way we dress, the way we talk, our posture, it's all a signal. We're constantly broadcasting our hidden value, trying to attract a partner who gets it and can offer their own value in return. It's a very high-stakes trade.
So what is this value we're signaling? It comes in 4 types:
You've got erotic capital. That's pretty straightforward. Physical attractiveness. Social capital is your network, your status. Resource capital is your wealth, your ability to provide. But maybe the most important one is psychic capital. This is your agency, your confidence, your emotional stability. It's that inner strength, that sense of purpose that lets you navigate the world. It's kind of the foundation that all the other forms of capital are built on.
So according to the theory, here's how this trade actually happens. The male compass is basically wired to decode those quantifiable signals from the woman. Things like appearance and behavior that signal health, youth, and high status. Meanwhile, the female mirror is doing something totally different. She is searching for a symbolic reflection of her own inner world in a man. She is looking for a personality, an intelligence, a character that resonates with her own subconscious. So when his compass finds high value and her mirror finds a deep resonance, that's the match. And that successful couple then becomes its own powerful, new signal of combined value to everyone else.
Now, you can really tell if a theory has legs if you can stretch it into other fields. And this framework does just that, extending from the world of attraction right into psychiatry, offering a new way to think about mental conditions.
And this is a really profound idea. In this model, things like autism or schizophrenia aren't seen as just errors or bugs in the system. They're viewed as systematic changes to how the compass and mirror are built and how they operate. They aren't flaws, they're more like different operating systems.
And you can see how this works in practice. The framework sees autism as a kind of system recalibration. The mirror isn't broken, it just seeks a different kind of connection, one based on clear, explicit communication and intensely shared interests. Simple schizophrenia, on the other hand, is seen as a total system collapse. It's described as a state of psychic nullity, where the mirror has nothing to reflect and the compass has no direction. The whole engine has stalled.
So after going through all of this, psychology, economics, even psychiatry, where does it all leave us? What we have is a potential new map for trying to understand one of the most fundamental, confusing, and wonderful parts of being human.
So let's just quickly recap what this whole thing tries to do. It aims to merge sexual psychology with economics. It tries to give us working definitions of consciousness and the subconscious. It reframes attraction as a marketplace of signals. It even offers a new way to look at mental health. At the end of the day, it's an attempt to build a whole new language to talk about our relationships.
But any map highlights some things and leaves other things in the shadows. So the real question, the one I'll leave you with, is this. If our desires are this huge, complicated territory, what does a map like this one, with its compasses, mirrors, and marketplaces, really help us see more clearly? And maybe, just as important, what might it be hiding from our view?